And then all of a sudden, people started buying houses. Because we thought we were finished, we thought the property market was going to be dead. And this big movement of people internationally. And I think that's the change, I think. We were all a bit paralysed before that. So now property prices and everything are higher than they ever have been.
Is this really happening? Oh God, this is really happening.
As soon as people got over that initial shock, people decided what they were going to do. And there was real kind of confidence in decision making, which I haven't seen in this market for a long time. As well. You can't really buy anything at the moment because the property markets are subdued, but I think as soon as that ability to travel and do that, I think there'll be a huge uplift in those marketplaces.
Interesting. Going back to sort of your view at the beginning, where you you mentioned obviously it was almost like, let's battle down the hatches and let's survive as a business.
Yep.
How, as an MD or a CEO of a business, I guess I was in a similar sort of position where you're sitting there and you're thinking, is it, again, as I repeat, is this really happening? How did you sort of feel, with the benefit of hindsight, looking back over the last 12 months, from that initial sort of panic that you had to where you are today? What do you think sort of went well and what didn't go so well? And how did you keep your staff motivated and not let them panic? And if they were getting inquiries or speaking to customers, how did they not panic them about what they could and couldn't do? And kind of like, how did you manage that whole thing, looking back at it now from sort of with the benefit of hindsight?
That bit was complex, right? So we were all gripped with fear. Our families were panicking, everyone was panicking, the news was going off the hook, and we were left with a business which, I don't know about your business, but I hold about 3 months worth of cash flow, and that's enough for my working capital. And that's served me fine for about a decade. And then all of a sudden I saw property transactions drop, which means mortgages drop, which means my income drop. We don't have recurring income. So I thought 3 months isn't going to be enough to get me through this. So it was really blank piece of paper. Which bits of this business can we mothball? Where should we focus our attention? Where can we drive profitability? Because that's our job. It's allocation of resources. So I felt we had limited resources and we had to allocate it to the bits which were going to bring in cash, because cash is the blood flow of any business. So we started with a very extreme plan, and it was quite aggressive because I thought that's how we had to play this, having run the business through the financial crisis. So we had, what happens if we need to make this bit of the business insolvent and wind it down, and can we move the assets to this part and anything else? That didn't happen, as I said, because we were lucky and my industry and the market responded very, very quickly. So we saw transactions not fall off and people start doing things quite quickly. What I was amazed about, we always felt that we needed our staff in the office at 8:30 and they weren't allowed to go home until 5:30, and that's what our business was, even though our customers were WhatsApping us at 7 a.m. or in New York, so speaking to them after hours. So our staff took to technology very, very quickly, and this kind of evolution in their professionalism, I don't know if that's too strong a way of saying it, they took care of themselves and they came with us in the business. And that's what helped the business get through this, because everyone really picked up their swords and went at it.
It's amazing what people can achieve when they've got no other choice, right?
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah, exactly. They had other choices.
Sure, but it's amazing how resilient people are when they're put in a situation. Given obviously what we know now and where we're at, what's your sort of plans for the year ahead, and how do you sort of build from where you are, and what's your view now, 12 months sort of forward? So
we've just become, talking to some of your guys, inundated with opportunity after this. Our phrase is never waste a good crisis. That's not my phrase. I think Warren Buffett or someone smart said it right. But it's kind of, there's a crisis here and people are changing and people are moving and there's opportunity as a result. So we've got a lender launching in a couple of weeks' time where we're going to raise some money and lend that into some of our situations, some of those more difficult things, because there's a shortage of cash here, but there's also an abundance of cash over here. So we're going to kind of match that together. But yeah, we're faced with 3 or 4 opportunities to grow the business. But like you, it's how do you allocate those resources and not do one thing which is going to affect something else. So lending business is quite interesting to us. But we've also learned over the years, just to stick to our knitting, we're really good at big mortgages for international and complex and high value positions. And every time we do something next to that, this one suffers as a result, and that's the one that actually makes all the money.